Hello everyone again, and now I have very interesting topic to talk about it. This is something what has been bothering me a couple of years, and I'm frustrating and every time when I'm playing this World of Tanks game, this whole thing, and the topic is on the headline is on matchmaking. Um, it has a lot of issues, and the when I'm uh, or when I'm starting to what looking behind what is in that behind that matchmaking, it's get a lot of wider uh, subjects to talk about it, and that's a reason that therefore uh, this whole topic is pretty big to chop down. Mm, and therefore, I know that this is going to be very long video. Well, my videos are very long. Sorry about that. And when I'm saying that this video is going to be long, it is going to be long. Uh, that's the reason why I have break it this down to three parts. And this is the first part. And let's go forward. What I mean when I want to talk about matchmaking. Uh, the root cause of this whole video series, if I may say so, is this bad game experiences. And when I'm talking about bad game experience, I mean games battles with ends in 15 to 0 or 15 to 4 or 5 or something like that. And battle took only 5 minutes or 4 minutes or even only 3 minutes or 6 minutes, something like that. So those battles are very fast, and that's something which gives me that bad experience. And I'm pretty sure that everyone knows what I mean. Everybody have faced these kind of battles, and nowadays this is very common, and it's pretty sad thing because to be honest, I like those long and tight matches, battles, uh, which which isn't, let's say this way that I cannot estimate the outcome from the start of the battle. But nowadays, I am pretty good to estimate how it goes. What are the chances the other team win or lose? Just before the clock has been started to run down at the start of the battle, I have pretty strong clue how it's going to go and what is the time of the battle, and that's something something what is very wrong in this game. It cannot be in that way. I have listed a lot of things on here what I'm going through next. And these are the things what I have been picking up when I have been talking to other players, when I have been following the forums or talks or unicorns, those very good players who have Twitch accounts and YouTube channels and so on. Uh, those contributors, what they are blaming, what gives this bad game experience. And let's go through this list. First, most common and most old ones when we are talking about bad things about this uh, game is artillery, and that's the most common what I heard time by time very much. Well, to be honest, not the last half a year or year because arties have been nerfed so much, so it, this is a little bit slow down to talk about arties. Next one is the gold ammunitions, and these are those special ammunitions which are much expensive on the credit point of view, and they got this very good penetration, and British tanks have those special ammunitions which have those HESH ammunitions which have huge amount of uh, good penetration and huge they make a lot of damages to enemy tanks. EPRs or wheeled vehicles. This is relatively new thing on this game. Uh, those vehicles goes very fast. Next one is these special tanks, revolt tanks. Object 279E. chieftain, and whatever these are, uh, so-called overpowered tank, power creep tanks. Next thing is equipment, crew, consumables, field modifications. There's time to time somebody is saying this is a problem. The map itself, the reason why people are saying the maps are the problem is that they are not exactly the reflection to each other, those sites where the teams are starting. So they are unbalanced, those maps. Pay to win feature, very common point to take out. And obviously, when we are talking about online games, the way how these companies are, uh, which are behind these games, how they can financially straight up, they have to include some kind of money incoming for them. So there is a features what the players can buy, and that's a one common round uh, aspect on these all these online games. Tiers, and this means that the matchmaking, it gives these plus or minus matchmakings the results. So somebody is always crying or complaining that they are lower tiers and they are facing the higher tiers and so on. Spawn location, this is a little bit related to the map thing. So when the battle is starting up, where your team and you are starting point, what is the starting point? And someone says that this is the problem. Fast game phase, this is more outcome of many things, and this is very good uh, pick up in when we are uh, doing the list with it gives a bad game experience. But this isn't. This is more a kind of outcome of many things. Deviation between teams, and this is not so common when I have been talking between the people uh, with the people. But this means that teams are not equal, basically. And last but not least is matchmaking, which is the bad, most common things what the people are saying. What is the gives the bad game experiences, and with that is also that RNG, which is basically calculations, random calculations, how what the people are going to face, and so on. And now we have a list here, and I start to go these uh, by items much more uh, uh, precise or much accurate. How they are um, in how they are affecting to the bad experiences. That's what I meant to say, and I give my own opinion or how I see it. Artists. Uh, first of all, we have to face something things what gives these or what gives these bad game experiences 15 to 0 something. What it tells? It tells that the both teams isn't equal to each other, and that means that some the other teams have something what other teams doesn't have. The very basic starting point for it, and for the RTs, first of all, both teams is going to have those. So matchmaking is nowadays giving the same amount of RTs to the both teams, and even the matchmaking is giving the same level of tiers to the both teams RTs. So in that point of view, RTs doesn't give or the artist isn't any kind of problem in that point of view for this game bad game experience. And to be honest, when we are talking about those 3, 5, 4, whatever very fast game phases, which or the fast games battles, artists are they are not any kind of problem because um, the mm, reload time on the RTs is so long, and luckily if the when the battle is started, they are so slow that they took a minute or two to get the correct position before they can start to fire and so on, and they reload almost minute per behind between the shots and so on. So they are they are totally not any kind of problem in these bad game experiences when we are talking about 15 to 0 or 15 to something fast games. They are not things what are dominate these battles at all. And this can be proven in many ways. For example, those fast clan war battles, which are very fast, nobody plays those RTs there anymore because they are useless in that kind of battle. Um, I understand why somebody or many people are blaming RTs, and I have heard so many times these very good unicorn players who are complaining about RTs. Many years they have complained many years of RTs, and they are saying that RTs should be nerfed and so on. Well, those come too, and now they are nerfed that they are pretty useless in many point of views. But uh, I like to see that artists are not so big problem, and I feel a little bit sad because at that they are have been nerfed it so much. Um, and reason for it this is that they are balancing factor and they are spice of this game. This game isn't the same if there are no artists at all. They bring the spice and they bring the balance. For example, if the another team has very uh, good players with good heavy tanks and they are going through everything what the another team try to defend or do, RT is balancing this whole thing. So they have very good or very important role of this whole thing, and it's sad that they are nerfed this RTs so much. And now you may think that I'm very big fan of artists and I play a lot of artists, and I have to say that I hate to also to get hit by the artists, and I don't play artists at all, and I'm not personally for the playing for artists. I'm not a big fan, but I know that they have very important role of this game. So my feelings and mm, the logical factor on this game, they are two different things, and that I like to mention. Um, yeah, but the main thing is that artists are not any kind of problem in this game. I like to see that, and I say that right away. They don't they don't have any kind of role or effect to the output. Let's put it this way. And obviously, those good players who can dominate everything what they see are complaining for the artists because they cannot see artists and they are hitting behind the shelter or whatever shield they have or behind the rock or house and so on. Let's go forward. Gold ammunitions. Well, this is something again when I try to estimate this whole thing, what the other team has, what another team doesn't have. Well, gold ammunitions nowadays everybody has those, or they have ability to have those. And gold ammunitions itself is a little bit tricky thing because they have been ruining this game for many years. Those ammunitions are something which uh, take uh, most of the effect thing or most of the main thing out of this game. And main thing in this game is tanks and the armor on them. And nowadays, when the gold ammunitions are not bought by gold like the olden days, everybody's buying those. You can buy the gold ammunition by the credits, and if you are uh, farming gold that way, that every shot what you are shooting is penetrated and you are winning team, it's pretty clear or pretty good chance that you always get plus side on those investments. So don't lose credits by spamming gold. Um, my opinion is that gold, these ammunition should be bought by bold, again by gold only, not the credits, or they should be bought with bonds or something like that, that people don't use those ammunition so much anymore. But back into this whole bad game experience thing, both team can have those, and both team has those, and normally everything is spamming those ammunitions, especially when we are going in the front with the heavies at the higher tiers, everybody's spamming gold. So it's not it has the own balancing factor on that thing. Next thing is EPR, and this is pretty much same as those objects. So I handle these two lines together. So EBRs and object 279Es and these special tanks. Uh, these are uh, tricky things or tricky things to talk about in generally. EBRs could be very problematic vehicles if the another team has these, but another team doesn't have another team. Uh, but that's not the whole truth. If the another team, both team has these, but another team has skilled player on EPR who knows how to play it, and another team doesn't know have that skilled player who doesn't know how to play correctly with the EPR, it's a problem in that case. Uh, EPRs or wheeled vehicles have pretty big learning curve. They are not the easiest one to play. When you get a handle of in it, how you can play with EPRs, it start to ease up a lot. But for the beginners, the EPRs are not the easiest one to play. And when another team has skilled player with the EPR and correct map, uh, it's something what we can estimate from the start that that team could be very high percents to win the whole battle, and they can dominate the output, and that's something which is very wrong. When we are going forward, these special tanks, overpowered tanks, for example 279E or Chieftain, uh, they hold big issue behind that. And first of all, if another team has these and another team doesn't have, for example 279Es, it is a big problem. We can estimate the outcome from the start pretty well. um, Luckily nowadays, or it's not the luck, but nowadays, uh, these everybody could get these objects 279Es. And a couple of years ago, when the mission 2.0 came, only the good players could have these, because those missions, those last missions for 279Es are not the easiest one, and there's a skill gap on that to get those. But nowadays you can buy services from companies who has pretty good players, very good players who can play on your account to get these tanks. So everybody can have these by the money, if we are talking straight. Same goes to chieftain or very rare special tanks. eBay are you can find uh, uh, the accounts which hold these. They are people are say selling these on the eBay, so you can buy account from eBay which holds these tanks, and boom, there you go. Uh, that's is some point of view it's a problem. You can buy these, but in another way it isn't, because if these tanks are very problematic on the good on the hands of the good players, and they could be a problem in mediocre player too on the skill point of view, because to be honest, 279E is very great tank. What I have, I don't have it yet. I'm grinding for it and doing those missions. But what I facing it time to time in the higher tier battles, and there's so much crazy things what I have seen what they have done. For example, a couple of times of the 279E player from enemy team is YOLOing middle of the tank in open field and just going forward and killing everything what is in front of them. And that's something what you cannot do with the another tank. It's so special for that, and it shows how broken it is. And if the matchmaking is giving the those match where the another team has one or two objects at 279, even another team doesn't have none of those, you can estimate how it's going to end, uh, especially at the heavy line. So these could be a problem because they are unbalancing the whole thing. Equipment, screw, consumables, and field modifications, not any kind of problem. This is pretty much same as gold ammunitions. Everybody could have these, and everybody has in some level of this whole thing, everything. It's not a bigger problem. Obviously, when we are going to the uh, new players, they don't have so well equipped tanks, or crews are not trained so much and so on, and there is some level of unbalancing between the teams, and no one can know how these are balanced in matchmaking. We don't know what every player has. Only exception is that when we have a skilled player on the in the matchmaking, we can assume that he has top notch of these all everything of these things. So, but in general, I don't see that this is bigger problem because everybody could have these maps. Maps are some kind of problem. There is some of maps, a couple of maps which have holds this um, factor that depending on the site where you are starting, you can see right away how it's going to go. It could be a easy or hard game, or what is your chance to lose or win the battle right away. And that's a sad thing. It cannot be in that way. Especially when we are talking about what kind of lineup the matchmaking is giving tanks or tiers to the both teams, you can estimate how it goes to go. And reason why it is so is that the most of the maps are not mirrored to each other, so they have different kind of nuances, and some maps those uh, nuances are shown that way that they gives some special better position to other teams, and that could be a leader problem. For example, I have noticed that, for example, Cliff is the one of the maps, depending on the lineup and what kind of tanks matchmaking is giving, you can estimate how your team is going to performance. What are the chances that your team is going to lose or win? And that's something which is wrong in this whole concept. Pay to win features. It holds some kind of problem, in some cases, bigger problem. But to be honest, far as I have understand it, when we are comparing World of Tanks to other similar games, online games, the World of Tanks doesn't have so big a problem with the pay to win features as the some other similar games. Obviously, if the player is using money or invested in this game, uh, he get a lot of some of advances. He can buy mm, these premium vehicles, premium times, and when he's invested to the gold, he can turn then the credits or whatever. And basically, he has this kind of player has a lot of uh, well, in generally this kind of player has better chances to grind and build up the vehicles, and they generally can boost up their own vehicles much better and faster than other, and that's the big problem in some point of view. But they are not the game changer because there's one bigger factor than those tanks, and that's something what I'm going to talk about a lot of in these video series, and that's a skill. There is, for example, Unicum Quickie Baby, which is one contributor. He has same as many other has two at least two accounts, and one of those accounts is this free to play account, like he like to say, and he don't invest any money of it. So he has playing as normally these people who don't invest money at the game at all, and surprise surprise, he can dominate the games just as well as pay to win account. So it's not about it's just an excuse for many I like to say many bad players that the pay to win features are ruining or something. It has some kind of or bigger effect to the process of the players involvement in this game, but it's not about the root thing, if I may say so. You can be a good player without spending any money on this game, but it's harder, obviously, and it takes much more time. Mm. Generally, pay to win or paying something for this game, it's a personal thing. It's everybody's own choice to spend money for this game or not. I like to see in that way that if people are enjoying hobbies, some games or something, it's very natural that have they are invested something for the game. Um, the amount of money, it's a different story. But that's about. Let's go forward. Tiers. Both team has this is this doesn't have any kind of uh, problematic or root cause for this bad game experience. I know that uh, many people are complaining and find bad experience right from the start, because they are facing, for example, tier 8 tank, they are facing the tier 10 tanks, or they feel that they have to face those, and they lose their mind right at the beginning. This is pretty much same as uh, if somebody knows what kind of level of skill players they have XVM models modifications installed, and they see right away that own team is poor and weak, and enemy team is much better on the skill level. They get the same toxic feeling that this is not going to well. Uh, but to be honest, matchmaking is very well match work very well, and it has been worked very well on many years on this point of view. So both team have same amount of same level of tiers and so on. So it's a good reminder to those who are playing lower tier tanks on the higher tier matchup, that you are not have to face those higher tiers. You have same level tiers on front of you too. Uh, and the matchmaking is taking care that both team has this, so it's balanced very well. Spawn location, pretty much related that map thing, what I talked all earlier. Uh, but this means that not only the map, the site where you are starting or the enemy are starting, there is very special, powerful positions in the different maps, and if your or enemy spawning location is one special place or something on those some special map, the player, if he knows those dominant places on the map, he can right away from a start go on there and start to dominate the whole battle and change the course of the battle right away from the start, and that is some kind of problem. Well, obviously, when the players are playing more and more in this game, they find a way how to counter these kind of actions. For example, I have been learning more and more the places where the enemy couldn't go with these domination overpowered places, and I have been found ways how I can right away to counter counteract them. So yeah, it is problem, to be honest. Same level problem as those maps. But again, it's related to the skills and knowledge of the players. Fast game phase is the it's not the root cause. It's like I said earlier, it's a summarized thing of many of these early things. It doesn't pinpoint straight away the what have to be changed to this game that it will be change the outcome. It's just out it's the output of this whole thing, and it is truly the one of the biggest problem. Like I said, bad game experience 15 to 0 under the 4 minutes. Under the 4 minutes tells it's the phase of the game is way too fast, and it's a problem. But how the fast game phase is built up? Well, like I said, it's something with the EPRs. They are way too fast for many maps, or many on this game, I may say so. Maps itself, those spawn locations, and so on. So it's combined from the many things. Next thing is the deviation between teams, and this is huge problem. I like to see this is the root. We are starting to close to the root problem of this whole thing. What this means that another team have something advances what another team doesn't have. So there is too big differences between two teams. So it's in other words, it's not a fair uh, setup for the battle. That's what it says. And the reason or the biggest tool between these deviation between teams and the fast game phase is the matchmaking. That's the tool which calculate and gives the setup. And that's the reason why the whole video series, what I'm talking about, it's a matchmaking. I like to talk about it. How what is what is giving the bad game experience. Behind that bad game experience is the fast game phase, deviation between teams, and the matchmaking is giving these two or made these two factors or outcomes. So it is a bigger problem. And when we are summarizing this whole thing, the root cause is unbalanced teams and the setup. That's the root cause of all this bad game experience 15 to 0, 15 to 4 or something. And now let's go forward and let's start. We don't, the fast game facing face is the problem, big problem itself, but it's outcome from many things. But let's go forward the things what we can change or what is the bigger problem, this unbalancing teams and setup, and it's a deviation between teams. I have listed three things here. Some special vehicles like those EPR and 279Es, map or spawn locations, and now the third one is something which uh, with which raising the hair of the people's head and hands, and something what makes this whole thing very controversial, something what tender topic to talk about. And we are talking about player skills, and we are talking have to talk about individuals. This is something what most of the people don't want to talk, especially when we are talking about people who are not so experienced player, and they they don't affect the game outcome so much. They don't want to talk about it, and it's understandable. If we are going through these three things, like I said earlier, those EPRs and 279 are issue if another team has, but another team doesn't have, or there's a skilled player behind those vehicles, but another team doesn't have those same skill level, and so on. It's pretty straightforward. Map and spawn location, like I said earlier, it could be an issue in many cases, but I like to see that that's something what the both team can handle. I have witnessed many times uh, situation where the another team has this much better position to play, but another team who has much weaker position can stronghold the situation and take it over. So it's not it's something what the gives, to be honest, give the spice on this. It's challenging, and it's something what I like. That let's put this way, that if the both teams or maps and map locations are exactly the same, uh, it would be a little bit boring. And those special cases can be learned, and those positions and cases can be learned, and with the skills you can handle them when your skill is rising up. So I don't see that it's it's it is a like a special vehicles. It could be a big issue, but not so big. It doesn't rock the boat. That puts that way. And now we are starting to talk about those skills. And I like to see that nowadays matchmaking and now those bad behind those bad game experiences, and uh, when we are comparing two teams to each other, this is the main problem. And bigger problem is that nobody wants to talk about it. No, nobody wants to raise the ugly truth around. I have been talking this. I try to talk this as an adult way, that without bigger emotion or this feelings, or how this is the thing what the hurt people in some point of view when we are raising this whole thing on the topic. But it's something what we have to do, because it is the main problem. And when I have to talk it this, or try to talk this, I have get many kind of response of, and one is this is it's a tricky one to talk about. It's also a tricky one to uh, do, or to fix up in the matchmaking. Uh, well, I agree. It's a tricky topic, and when I always talk about this, I get this very aggressive uh, response that I'm so toxic because I talk something like that. I cannot talk about skills, the people skills, how good or weak they are, or are they carrying, or something like that. This is this is the topic which grows very fast under the people's skins. So many people are saying, you don't talk about individuals. You have to talk about the battle itself or game itself, but you don't talk about individuals and so on. So many people are saying that I, this isn't a problem, or they don't want to face it. They don't face the real truth. They want to uh, think that problem is somewhere else, and this is very typical way to thinking nowadays. Nowadays, people are they want to uh, buy the nice thing about life, but they don't want to, and they are willing to pay big price of that nice fixed or thick things or feeling what they want to have, but they will never want to get that ugly truth which is cheap or free. That's a way how the world is going right now, and it's exactly the same in this game and this topic when we're talking about this. And they are saying that gaming should be fun. That's the reason you cannot talk about player skills. And I agree, gaming should be a fun. But to be honest, my idea if about fun isn't that bad game experience, 15 to 0 something. It's far away from fun. Um, I don't know how many people are truly enjoy to be losing team when its whole thing is over under the 3 minutes and you didn't get to do anything about it. How much fun is that? Uh, and well, there is some of very good players who are enjoying to annihilate or the rush over the enemy weaker players. That's a different kind of point of view, but it's not. I don't like that it's fair or something. What I'm willing to spend my time of that kind of thing. And I agree, gaming should be a fun. And when I'm talking about these player skills, I'm not uh, dropping down or blaming or, or I don't want to cross under me on my talks about other players, and it's not the main idea to cross them that it would be a fun thing to do. Uh, yeah, let's go forward. I have talking this a lot of, and for example, at the game, and I'm time to time really bad mouthing because I'm so pissed off the outcome or uh, some players who are very passive, and I get a lot of different kind of response. And this is very common that I should shut up. I cannot talk about people's skills. And when I've been talk about this at the Wargaming forum, uh, there's a couple of players who have these own Excel or something calculations. What they are saying that uh, they are they are saying that they are proving their own point that there is any there are no any kind of problem with the matchmaking because their own statistics are showing something, and the outcome of their statistics are telling that 279 are not any kind of problem. uh, all the skills in this game are not relevant at all. We are all in the same level, and I can say right away that's a crap. That's a full crap. I don't buy it, and it get pretty ugly those uh, talks at the forum, and the outcome was that uh, I stopped writing to them those forum. I don't write any anymore. Never ever to those forums. That was the last time. But let's the whole thing is the idea that we have to face the facts and we have to uh, dig out what is the reason for this bad game experience and what is the factor of player skills in these bad game experiences. And that's the next parts, the uh, video series part, the whole idea, what we are going through on next video. We are going to dig in the what means these skills in this game and in generally. But that's about it in this video, and I'm stopping right now.